Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. For those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Dominic James Murray. I'm CEO and founder here at Cameron James. I've been in the UK pension transfer industry for over 10 years now, so I like to think to myself that I kind of know what I'm doing. So today we're going to be talking about the Shell Overseas Contributory Pension Fund. The reason we're talking about this scheme today is that there's a lot of oil and gas professionals who are living in different parts of the world who have been placed into this Bermuda-based scheme whilst they were working for Shell. So some of the background to this, why does Shell do this? So I'm not part of Shell, but reading between the lines, I would ascertain that, as you'll understand, in the United Kingdom, you have something called UK Lifetime Allowance. This means you can earn up to a certain amount of money before you have additional tax to pay because effectively you have more wealth. So currently speaking in the UK, this sits at around 1.073 million. It's actually been reduced from 1.8 million over the course of time, as it's an easy way for the UK government to tax people. So what I would say is that Shell have set up this scheme to help people who are living abroad and working abroad while still working for Shell on a UK contract potentially to not be put into a higher tax bracket for this UK pension scheme. So it's still designated with Shell, but it's based in Bermuda. So one of the reasons it's important to do a blog and also a YouTube video on this pension scheme is that there's a lot of people retiring at the moment who are looking to transfer these schemes, and often they can be of significant value. Oil and gas professionals typically earn above average salaries throughout their career, particularly when they're put in parts of the world which are maybe high risk, potentially dangerous, maybe not the most interesting of places to have lived, a big commitment for their family to have moved abroad and lived in those countries. So expats are rewarded handsomely for this, and also the fact that obviously it's very technical work. So what this means is the pension transfers can be quite high. So to give a case example, we were working with a British Chinese national who was residing in a third country, was a UK national, UK passport, but had this pension scheme in Bermuda. So that's quite a complex scenario to start getting their head around. Now inside Shell, you have a number of documents which come from Shell which advise the companies that you can work with in the United Kingdom. My client wanted to complete his own research and get the best possible deal that he could in the international market. So he compared us and around 3 or 4 other financial advisory firms. The information and advice that he got back from the 3 or 4 firms, including ourselves, was very, very different. And it really highlighted to me how this guy could have gone and taken advice from someone else who looked very professional, but actually the advice they were giving him was very poor quality. So let me go through that again. So this pension pot was worth 2.1 million. British Chinese national residing in a third country. The third country where he was residing did not have a double taxation agreement in place with Malta. That would be a normal jurisdiction which you would complete the transfer for a QROPS, Qualified Recognised Overseas Pension Scheme. Now, it must be noted that all QROPS providers would only accept these schemes at their discretion. They do not have to accept it. The second option would have been to use an international SIPP, as we do with many of our non-UK resident clients. However, because the pension pot was over his lifetime allowance of 1.073 million, moving himself back into an international SIPP would have created a tax charge of over £250,000. As such, we had to explore more avenues with the client, which ended up being a QNUPS based out of Guernsey, and this was applicable for the client's situation because there's no tax deducted at source, even though there was no DTA in place between his country and Guernsey. In Guernsey, there are no DTAs in place with anyone because they just don't tax foreigners who are taking income from any of their assets in Guernsey. The only stipulation is if you become a Guernsey resident, you would have to pay income tax on any withdrawal. So I went through a very long process of advice with this client. Typically, I think it lasted 5 to 6 weeks. Our email chains were about 20 to 30 emails. It was a really interesting case to work on. We've worked with these Shell schemes before, but this specific client situation was very interesting. So I wanted to share this with people, as there's a lot of people out there who are trying to understand how to transfer these schemes. And the big danger with these schemes is, despite the fact of their size, they do not classified as a defined benefit UK pension scheme. So what this means is that these people who have these do not need to use an FCA regulated financial advisor to complete the transfer. Now this spells trouble because in the United Kingdom, the FCA has banned all form of commission payments for financial advisors. This means that financial advisors must be transparent. They must tell you exactly how much money they're being paid for you to complete the transfer. So this is very good. You can understand, okay, this is how much the advisor will be paid. Is it good value? Yes or no, you decide to work with them. In the international market or outside of the UK, commissions are still very prevalent, up to 5, 6, 7% on a transaction, and the client won't have any information or understanding of this. So it's very important, if you have one of these shell pension schemes, you need to be working with an FCA regulated advisor to make sure that you're not taken advantage of in terms of any extra commissions, trail payments, etc. On what is probably one of your most significant assets. I hope you find this video valuable today. If you have any questions about the shell scheme in particular, you can book into my diary below via my Calendly. You can also read the blog article which is dedicated to the Pacific scheme to read a little bit more, to get to the point where you feel comfortable to reach out to us to understand your options. Thank you for listening today, guys. Hope you find it valuable and look forward to your feedback. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them below, and always remember to subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with any further videos on this topic and other pension transfer topics. Thank you.